Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for your patience. We are going to go ahead and call the meeting of the State Allocation Board to order. Time is 4:32. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to do a little housekeeping. We'll establish a quorum, and then we'll go from there. So the meeting is being held in person at the State Building and Construction Trades Council of California, located at 1231 I Street in Suite 303, Sacramento, California, 95814. For anyone that would like to provide public comment in person. This meeting is also being conducted by way of Zoom meeting for members of the public that would like to participate remotely. In order for this meeting to run efficiently for those participating remotely, please note the following guidelines. All attendees will be muted during the meeting. If any member of the public would like to make a comment, please use the raise hand feature in the Zoom meeting interface. I will call your name at the appropriate time, and OPSC staff will request to unmute you. If you are calling into the meeting and not using a computer or the Zoom application on a mobile device, you will be unable to provide public comment. Ms. Jones, would you please call the roll, noting any members joining us from a remote location?
Certainly. Senator Laird? Senator Perez?
Here.
And that is remote participation. Senator Choi?
Remotely, yes. Here.
Thank you. Remote participation for Senator Choi. Assemblymember Murasucci?
Here.
Remote participation for Assemblymember Murasucci. Assemblymember Davies?
Here.
Assemblymember Kirk Silva?
Here.
Juan Morales?
Here.
Jeremy Smith?
Here.
Ana Lasso?
Here.
Michelle Peralt?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you so much. I just want to note we are going to go ahead and take some items out of order. At this time, we are going to go ahead and move forward to our one item that we have on appeal today. Ms. Cook.
Thank you. I'm on stamp page 99 of the agenda. This appeal request is from Bright Star Schools. Bright Star Schools is a charter organization that runs 9 charter schools down in the LA area. They are requesting that the State Allocation Board postpone the rescission of their priority funding apportionment for the Rise Koyang Middle School project. Back in 2019, this district received a preliminary apportionment under Prop 51. Following that preliminary apportionment, they received a release of funds in amount of $16.7 million for design and site acquisition. They proceeded to move forward with their project, purchase the site, and design fully DSA CD approved plans for the project, and submit an application to convert to a final apportionment. In May of 2023, the State Allocation Board approved their unfunded approval, allowing the charter school to participate in the priority funding process to receive construction funding for their project. Under the priority funding apportionments, they failed to meet the first opportunity for fund release requirements, and they're put back on the unfunded list, receiving their first non-participation occurrence. They resubmitted the request in September of 2024. The board approved their priority funding apportionment, which gave them 90 days to get under contract by December 24th of 2024. They are unable to meet the fund release, knowing that they are unable to meet the fund release requirements for that project, they submitted an appeal request on December 23rd, thereby staying that automatic rescission of the project in order to appeal to the board. The subject of this appeal is $22.2 million in state construction fundings for this project. The reason why they're unable to meet the fund release requirements is due to ongoing litigation with LA Unified School District. To be able to start construction of the project, they need a zoning exemption, which requires LAUSD to pass a board resolution to exempt them from zoning requirements per government code. That was presented but not approved by a local board, and the charter has been working since then with LA to try to move that one forward. Unsuccessful, they filed a lawsuit against LAUSD in August of 2024. So this request is to hold the rescission off until that litigation is resolved. If the board were to approve this appeal, the $22.2 million in preliminary apportionment funds would not be available for the upcoming charter school facility program filing round until the litigation is resolved. If the board were not to approve this appeal, that money would be rolled into the next filing round coming up. If the board staff does support the charter school's request, if the board were to approve the charter's appeal, we recommend that we defer rescission of the charter apportionment until the litigation is resolved, and they require the charter to provide written updates to OPSC every 6 months until the status of the providing updates on the status of the lawsuit and once the lawsuit is actually concluded. With that, I'll take any questions, and representatives from the charter are also here to answer questions.
Thank you. Bright Star Schools has joined the meeting to answer any questions from the board, is my understanding. We've Ms. Ana Martinez, Bright Star's Chief Executive Officer, and Mr. Elijah Suge, I'm not sure if I said that correctly, Bright Star's Chief Financial Officer, who are both here in person. First, let me ask if there are any comments that the charter would like to provide.
I just want to say good afternoon and thank you to the board and staff for considering our appeal. Our goal is to have to work in partnership with LAUSD to get our facility for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for being here in person. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Not seeing any, okay. Are there any public comments on this item? Okay, we have no public comments. Is there a motion on the appeal item?
Make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and I apologize, I didn't catch who did I got the second, but I can't tell it there. Okay, thank you. Senator Choi, and seconded by Assemblymember Davies. Secretary, if you'll please call the roll.
Certainly. Senator Laird?
Aye.
Laird, aye. Senator Perez?
Aye.
Perez, aye. Senator Choi?
Aye.
Choi, aye. Assemblymember Murasucci?
Aye.
Murasucci, aye. Assemblymember Davies? Davies, aye. Assemblymember Quirk Silva? Quirk Silva, aye. Juan Morales? Morales, aye. Jeremy Smith?
Aye.
Smith, aye. Ana Lasso?
Aye.
Lasso, aye. Michelle Peralt?
Aye.
Peralt, aye. And that motion carries unanimously.
Thank you so much, and thank you again for being here. Appreciate your patience. With that, again, as I mentioned, we are going to take some items out of order just so public is aware. We are going to go ahead and move into closed session. When we come back, we will take up consent and then move into action items just for awareness. So with that, the board will now meet in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 11126E2A regarding pending litigation in the case entitled California School Finance Authority, California State Agency versus Today's Fresh Start, California Nonprofit Benefit Corporation, in Los Angeles County Superior Court, case number 23 STCP 03750. All board members, please follow Ms. Jones to the adjoining conference room. Remote members will automatically join the closed session with the assistance of OPSC's communications team, and then we will come back into an open meeting upon adjournment of closed. Thank you. That's okay. 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 All right, we're going to go ahead and open back up our public session. Let's see, where are we at? Okay. All right. Pursuant to Government Code Section 11126E2A, the State Allocation Board met in closed session regarding pending litigation in the case entitled California School Finance Authority, a California state agency, versus Today's Fresh Start, a California nonprofit benefit corporation, in the Los Angeles County Superior Court, case number 23 STCP 03750. Closed session has concluded, and the board now will resume the general meeting to take a vote, possible vote. But before we do that, I think we need to reestablish a quorum and take roll. I think he wanted us to. We do not? Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure since we lost a. Okay. Never mind. We do not need to reestablish a quorum. So with that, yes. So we do have a staff recommendation of a motion, which would be to accept the settlement agreement and to also grant the executive officer the authority to finalize any settlement terms. That's staff recommendation coming out of closed. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Okay. Secretary, will you call the roll?
Certainly. Senator Laird? Okay. Senator Choi?
Aye.
Choi, aye. Assemblymember Davies? Aye. Davies, aye. Assemblymember Quirk Silva? Aye. Quirk, Silva, aye. Juan Morellis? Aye. Morellis, aye. Jeremy Smith?
Aye.
Smith, aye. Ana Lasso?
Aye.
Lasso, aye. Michelle Peralt?
Aye.
Peralt, aye. And that motion carries.
Okay, thank you so very much. We're going to go ahead now and move on to the minutes for the March 26, 2025 meeting. Ms. Kirk.
Push the... Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The minutes from the March 26th, 2025 meeting are on stamped pages 1 through 9 of today's agenda. I request the board approve the minutes.
Okay, thank you so much. Are there any comments or questions from the board members on the minutes? Do we have any public comments on the minutes? Okay. Okay, it's been moved by Assemblymember Davies. Do we have a second? Second by Assemblymember Quirk Silva. If we could please have a roll.
Certainly. Senator Choi?
Aye.
Choi, aye. Assemblymember Davies? Davies, aye. Assemblymember Quirk Silva? Aye. Quirk Silva, aye. Juan Morellis? Aye. Morellis, aye. Jeremy Smith?
Aye.
Smith, aye. Ana Lasso?
Aye.
Lasso, aye. Michelle Peralt?
Aye.
Peralt, aye. That motion carries.
Okay, thank you so much. Again, we're going to take something slightly out of order. I'm going to go ahead and move past the executive officer statement. We will come back to that and take up the consent agenda, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Today's consent agenda is on stamped pages 12 through 81 of the agenda. I request that the board approve the consent agenda.
Thank you so much. Are there any comments or questions from the board on the consent agenda? Seeing none, are there any public comments? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Second. Motion by Assemblymember Quirk Silva, seconded by Assemblymember Davies. If we please have roll.
Aye.
All right, musical mics, guys. Okay, Senator Choi?
Aye.
Choi, aye. Assemblymember Davies? Aye. Davies, aye. Assemblymember Quirk Silva? Aye. Quirk Silva, aye. Juan Morellis? Aye. Morellis, aye. Jeremy Smith?
Aye.
Smith, aye. Ana Lasso?
Aye.
Lasso, aye. Michelle Peralt?
Aye.
Peralt, aye. This motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We've already taken up our appeal item. We are going to go ahead now and move on to our action items, of which we have two. The first one regarding priority funding school construction apportionments. Ms. Kirk?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This action item is on stamped pages 132 through 146 of today's agenda. As you said, it is the priority funding school construction apportionments. There are 4 projects under the Charter School Facilities Program that have previously received unfunded approvals and submitted a valid certification during the last priority funding filing round, in part that they can submit a fund release request within 90 days of receiving an apportionment from the board. I'm happy to address any questions the board may have on this item, and I request that the board provide the apportionments totaling approximately $14.2 million for these 4 projects.
Thank you so much. Are there any comments or questions from the board on this item? Okay, seeing none, do we have any public comments? Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation? Motion. Moved by Assemblymember Davies, seconded by Mr. Smith. If we could please have a roll call.
Certainly. Senator Choi?
Aye.
Choi, aye. Assemblymember Davies? Aye. Davies, aye. Assemblymember Quirk Silva? Aye. Quirk Silva, aye. Juan Morellis? Aye. Morellis, aye. Jeremy Smith?
Aye.
Smith, aye. Ana Lasso?
Aye.
Lasso, aye. Michelle Peralt?
Aye.
Peralt, aye. And that motion carries.
Thank you so much. We'll now take up our second action item regarding Career Technical Education Facilities Program funding cycle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This item is on stamped pages 147 through 151 of today's agenda and pertains to the Career Technical Education Facilities Program. Proposition 2 provides $600 million in additional bond authority for the Career Technical Education Facilities Program. As previewed in the March Executive Officer's statement, we're presenting today an action item with a recommendation for the board to establish a funding cycle. The staff recommendation on this item is for the board to establish a funding cycle with a maximum funding allocation of $300 million, so half of the bond authority for this particular program authorized in Proposition 2. This program is administered jointly by the California Department of Education and the Office of Public School Construction. In consultation with the Department of Education, we have recommended for the next filing round in this program, if the board approves such filing round, that the initial applications would be due to the Department of Education by December 1st, 2025. The Department of Education then scores those applications, and applicants receiving a passing score would then submit applications to the Office of Public School Construction no later than June 30th, 2026. We've also recommended that the board specify today that any applications to the Office of Public School Construction for this filing round must include a governing board resolution regarding the master plan requirements in Proposition 2, and specifically indicate that the master plan would need to be submitted on the same time frame that the board previously adopted in December 2024 for facility hardship and seismic mitigation program projects, which is essentially with the final expenditure report or 100% complete substantial progress report on the project. And finally, we've recommended that the board direct staff to bring forward a future item for consideration in establishing an additional funding cycle for the remaining bond authority in this program coming from Proposition 2. I'm pleased to address any questions.
Thank you so much. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Okay, seeing none. Are there any public comments on this item? Okay, seeing none. Is there a motion to approve staff recommendation?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Smith. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ana Lasso. If we could please have a roll call.
Senator Choi.
Aye.
Choi, aye. Assemblymember Davies. Aye. Davies, aye. Assemblymember Quirk Silva. Aye. Quirk Silva, aye. Juan Morales. Aye. Morales, aye. Jeremy Smith.
Aye.
Smith, aye. Ana Lasso.
Aye.
Lasso, aye. Michelle Peralt.
Aye.
Peralt, aye, and that motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate flexibility in moving around the agenda. That does conclude all of our action items today. So we are going to go ahead now and move back up to our executive officer's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Executive Officer's statement is on stamped pages 10 and 11 of today's agenda. I'm pleased to provide a few updates to the board. Firstly, our Office at Public School Construction continues to hold stakeholder meetings to inform regulatory development to implement provisions of Proposition 2. Since the March State Allocation Board meeting, we've held 3 additional stakeholder meetings to discuss 7 different topics for Proposition 2 implementation. In that most recent stakeholder meeting, the California Department of Education also discussed implementation of the state augmentation of their federal Supporting America's School Infrastructure Grant Program for priority school districts. I'd like to extend appreciation both to OPSC staff but also stakeholders for robust participation in these meetings held year to date. We continue to have strong participation by our stakeholders with 60 to 70 external participants during the most recent meetings and additional written input following those meetings. To have additional input considered for subsequent stakeholder meetings on these topics, stakeholders may continue to submit written input, specifically by April 25th regarding interim housing and natural disaster assistance and the 5-year school facilities master plan, and by May 2nd regarding the small size school district program, the Energy Efficiency Supplemental Grant for Modernization Projects, and the California Department of Education's program for priority school districts. Secondly, at the March meeting, the State Allocation Board approved the first set of regulatory amendments to implement several provisions of Proposition 2. We are in the process of submitting those proposed regulations to the Office of Administrative Law on an emergency basis. Once the Office of Administrative Law posts the notice of the filing, there will be a 5-day opportunity for public comment, and we will continue to update the board on the effective date of these regulations. Finally, as previously announced, the Charter School Facilities Program filing round will open and applications will begin being accepted on July 3rd, 2025 through October 30th, 2025. The Office of Public School Construction did recently conduct a free webinar for prospective applicants to that filing round on March 25th. That webinar has been recorded and is available on our website as well as our YouTube page for prospective applicants. And our next State Allocation Board meeting is scheduled for May 28th. I'm pleased to address any questions.
Thank you so much. Are there any comments or questions from the board on the executive officer statement? Seeing none, are there any public comments on this item? Okay. This is not an action item, so we will go ahead now and move on to our financial reports. Ms. Kirk?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Today's financial reports are on stamped pages 82 through 98 of the agenda, and I'm happy to address any questions.
Any questions or comments from the board on the financial reports? Any public comments on the financial reports? Okay. With that, this is not an action item, so we will now move on to, let's see, what are we up to? Now we are on to reports, discussion, and information items.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The reports, discussion, and information items are on stamped pages 152 through 196 of today's agenda, and I'm happy to address any questions.
Thank you so much. Are there any comments or questions on the reports, discussion, or information items from the board? Okay, seeing none, are there any public comments? Okay. Again, this is just an information item. With that, we will go ahead and just offer if there's any other public comments on anything not on the agenda today. Seeing none, okay, with that, we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 5:17. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.